Hi everybody, welcome to the Positive Impact Project. Today we are going to do a live feed with Spiritual Director of the Bodhi Center in Chicago with Lola Wright, and she's going to be coming on with us for a live feed. So we're not going to have her in studio today, but we are going to have her on the screen. So if you guys have any questions for her as we talk, you can feel free to type those in and we will try to get answers for you. But welcome everybody. If you haven't seen the Positive Impact Project before, you may want to check out the other videos we have. All last year we did about 34 episodes with a lot of different wonderful people from all over, sorry about that, all over, just people that work in service of humanity, that do wonderful things in their community and help all around the world. So it's really a fun show, and we do like to support and promote those who are working for the greater good, so that we aren't just seeing negative things on the media, so that there isn't just those who are, you know, ailing and the war and things that are going on in the media that make us fearful and sad. I really want this Positive Impact Project to be about shedding a light on those who are doing good, because there are so many people in the world that are trying to make a difference in their work, in their life, in their passion. And here on the Positive Impact Project, that's what this is all about, is showing that, showing those people and what they do. And we're going to be talking to Lola Wright today and asking her a little bit about what she does, what kind of work she does, and what got her into it, what drives her, what her passion is. So give me a moment as I try to get her on with us today. We are going to see if we can get her on our live feed. So let's see here. Last time I was able to just click on live, so we're going to see if we can get Lola to just come on here, joining us live. And I am going to, I'm not sure what else I can do here, actually. There she is. Okay. So Lola, if you're watching, it's saying you can't come on the broadcast at this time. So I'm not sure what you're using. If you do have a camera, maybe you can see if that's working okay, or the device that you're using. It just says I can't bring you on. So let's see if we can figure out this technical difficulty. We're fairly new at doing the live feed like this. Typically I have someone in the office with me, but this is new, and it's also something that really is making it more possible for me to talk to people all over. So hopefully we will get her on and be able to make this a reality today. If anybody has any questions, or if you'd like to be on the show, Positive Impact Project, you can feel free to send a message into our page and we will get back to you. If you work in service of humanity, I have had everybody on the show. I've had people who do astrology, who do all kinds of therapies that range from Reiki to a biomat to crystal healing. And then there's those who have centers of their own and do yoga. And I've had musicians on. I've had a range of beautiful people on, and it's really exciting. So I really hope that you guys will watch all the shows and support us. We also have a YouTube channel, which is Pip series, Pip Docu-series on YouTube. And if you want to go to our webpage, that is at Pip series, it's pipseries.com, and you can see not only our shows on there, but it also shows you all about the aspects of who out with us for a little bit. So, hey, Lola, we made it. Can you hear
Hello.
me?
I can perfectly. Can you hear me?
Great. Yes, I can. This is exciting. I got you. So, we're fairly new at doing the live version to have people on, but I want to be able to get people all over, not just in my little city here. So, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a treat.
Great. Well, so I'm going to start out by asking you a little bit about what you do. What do you do right now?
I am the spiritual director of a non-religious spiritual center in Chicago called Bodhi Spiritual Center. We are a center for transformation and liberation. We have a strong community in the city of Chicago and a quickly growing community online. We have a new body of work that's forming in Madrid, Spain. And we really exist to provide people with an experience of community, uh, even if they're not interested in religious tradition or dogma. What I find is that there's a significant population of people that know that there's something else going on here, but the traditional theological structures perhaps no longer serve them. So we exist to fill that gap.
That's excellent. So, what got you into this work?
I was raised Catholic, and oftentimes you'll hear people say, like, I'm a recovering Catholic, and I don't really identify with that. I didn't have like a particularly traumatic experience. I think I'm sort of a generation that maybe missed that. There was some trauma, but not to the degree that you oftentimes hear.
That's good.
I did take issue, though, with a number of social positions that the church was firm about. One being women in leadership, another being a woman's right to choose, and the third being the church's stance on marriage equality. And so as a result of that, I really went seeking. I also became like a voracious reader of Black liberation theology and philosophy. And it called into question the influence of Christianity on really world society, but absolutely American society. So the Christian framework no longer worked for me, and I wanted something else. So I stumbled upon a guy named Michael Bernard Beckwith, who's the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center in Los Angeles, and
Okay.
was really drawn to his teachings and was recommended that I check out this place called Bodhi Spiritual Center. And that was about 12 and a half years ago. And it absolutely blew my mind that there was a body of human beings gathering around the very things that I thought and believed. And, you have those moments where you feel like you're the only person that is exploring something or the only person that may believe a particular thing. And then you find, oh my gosh, there are all these people. And it was very comforting to me. So I spent many years in corporate America, and in July of 2012 decided I cannot do this corporate path anymore. It is not for me. It is not an authentic self-expression. And I really didn't know what my plan was, but I said to my husband at the time, I would rather live in a cardboard box than maintain this life that is devoid of meaning. And so we sort of rolled the dice, so to speak, and an opportunity presented itself at Bodhi that I could never have predicted. And here I am 5 years later, loving it.
That's awesome. And it is, I find that it does take a leap of faith when you are trying to steer yourself in a direction that's really where your heart takes you. Because there's so many people that want to do something, it's in their heart, but they want the security of whatever they fell into or what seems easy at the time. And I feel like this show and, a lot of what I do is really to show, look, it can work. You have a little faith, you put a little work in, but it's going to happen and you'll be a lot happier.
Yeah.
So would you say that? Would you say you're a lot happier?
I for sure I'm a lot happier. I mean, what's interesting is that I'm always reluctant, because I think people will hear my story or hear similar stories and think, that's it. I just have to quit my job. And it's like, well, there might be something in between like 0 and 100 miles per hour. So, you know, for me, it was a process. It wasn't just like, I mean, it was a lot of gestation, a lot of soul searching, a lot of inquiry. And I 100% agree. When you take a leap, it's you know, one of my early teachers was a woman named Mary Mannon Morrissey, and she said, if your dream or your vision doesn't make you nervous, it is likely not big enough. And I think that's really well stated. You know, if it doesn't elicit some angst, you probably already know you can do it. In which case, it wouldn't be qualified as a dream or a vision.
Right. And there does take, I think, the help of some greater power to get you from A to B, whether it's the help of others, inspiration from teachers, or those angels. You know, it really does matter when you take that leap, that you have to expect that others are going to carry you through. So that's really exciting. So at this point, I mean, moving forward, what would you say is your vision for the future for yourself?
It's so funny. I was sitting with a friend yesterday and he said, so what's up for you in 2018? And I said, I find my sense of certainty around what things are going to look like to be diminishing. Like and perhaps it's that I'm less attached to the material expression, but I really have no clue, to be completely honest. I am more aligned.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I'm more aligned with like the qualities and the feelings that I want to create than the actual thing itself. And that can be, I think, sometimes frustrating for some, but I don't know. I'm cautious to there was a time and place where it was really right and appropriate for me to set clear goals and move towards them. And it's not that I don't do that anymore, but I just hold them very lightly. So I guess the question is, you know, the question I'm more interested in asking myself is, what is the impact that I want to have in the spaces that I frequent? What is the impact that I like from a quality perspective? So like for me, the primary qualities that drive my existence are freedom and wholeness. I value freedom, and I want to be an invitation for freedom with all I meet. You know, I really, my great desire for humanity is that it unleash itself, it unlock itself, it drop the self-imposed limitations that bind us. So I'm definitely, you know, moved by the pursuit of freedom in myself and for others. And the quality of wholeness is just so essential. I believe that most of the suffering on the planet exists because we are so seduced by a story of brokenness and woundedness. And if we could actually align to a higher idea of who we are and what we are, we would free ourselves of so much unnecessary drama and suffering. So I can't say specifically, like probably there are books in my future, probably there are more speaking engagements in my future. There's certainly, you know, a growing and expanding physical community in Chicago, and one that reaches an increasing number of people online. But beyond that, I don't have a lot of clarity.
Okay, well, it sounds like you have a lot of clarity, but maybe not about that specifically.
Maybe better said, I don't have a lot of attachment.
Okay, and I think that's the best place to be. I mean, you're enjoying your happiness, and that's wonderful. Instead of thinking, well, I could be even more happy. You know, I think enjoying where you're at is awesome. And I do agree with you as far as the attachment, the seduction of sorrow and, you know, self-pity. And I do find that there's so many that roll around in it like a warm blanket. And it's like, you could do anything, you know, anything you want. But it feels so cozy in here, you know. So
well, it's very familiar.
I always tell my students.
It's very familiar.
I'm sorry?
It's very familiar. Hello.
And I do tell my students that, go on to do the work that I do. They want to save people, they want to help people, and they'll have, people just come up randomly and want help. And I'm like, some people want help, but other people actually need help. So it's really a matter of, are they going to take it, or are they just wanting to talk about their problems? Not everybody really wants to solve them. So it's really important to recognize that in family members and friends and everyone around us. When they ask for help, are they really asking for help, or do they just want a lot of attention? And it's important to take care of ourselves and put up boundaries and make sure that you do what's really going to help you too, that's going to feel good to you, and not just, oh, they didn't take my advice, or they didn't do what I all that effort for nothing. So it is good not to get too attached in how other people play their lives out.
Yeah, what I'm hearing and what you're saying is the great distinction.
So one other question I have,
Can you hear me?
Sorry, there's some static.
I keep talking, but it doesn't seem like you can hear me. Hello?
Say that one more time.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes. There was a lot of static for a minute.
Okay, very
good.
Go ahead. What I was saying is that it feels to me, what I hear you saying is the distinction between wanting and willing. There is that which we want, and then there's that which we're willing to take action towards. And we create a lot of suffering by placing our attention on our wanting, when we really need to ask ourselves, am I willing to do what it takes to move towards the thing that I'm wanting? Because if I'm not willing to do what it takes, well, then let's let go of this suffering attachment, because it's just creating so much discomfort.
Yeah, that is, I think that is the plight of humanity in a nutshell.
Yeah, for sure.
So what is it that, what is it you do at your center? I mean, what do you have available for people that come into the center?
So we offer an incredible Sunday celebration service at 10 a.m. Central Time every week in Chicago's Westtown neighborhood. We have about 300 people that hang out with us on Sunday mornings. We also have lots of people that join us via Facebook Live. We do Facebook Live the service. Awesome. Yeah, if you go check out Bodhi Spiritual Center on Facebook, we always Facebook Live our services. We also put them on our website, so you can go to bodhispiritualcenter.org. Our music is ridiculous. We always have an incredibly powerful message, and just really amazing human beings. So that's one way for people to get plugged in, is through our Sunday celebration service at 10 a.m. Central Time. We also offer incredible classes, workshops, special events. We offer sacred service opportunities for people to sort of rise up and out of their own self, the neuroses that we can find ourselves so seduced by. And, service is one of the great transcenders of the self. So we offer sacred service opportunities. And then we also offer something called sacred circles, which are small groups of about 10 to 12 people that gather once a month in someone's home, typically. And we provide a curriculum, and people can use it as rigorously or as loosely as they choose to. But it's just intended to be an opportunity for intimacy and belonging. We're living in a day and where there's fewer and fewer opportunities for meaningful connection. And so if we don't set the intention to create them, they don't just magically happen, in my experience. So it's an amazing community. I'm so grateful that I found it, and so grateful to provide it for others.
Wow. That sounds like you have so many different things available for people to do. I feel like that needs to be on every corner instead of fast food, fast spirituality. But I mean, honestly, I feel like we need a lot more of those type of centers all around the country, the world. So I'm really excited about what you're doing there. When did it get established?
It was founded in 2003. We actually just celebrated our 14th anniversary this past year. We opened our doors on November 23rd, 2003. We were birthed out of the Agape International Spiritual Center in LA. And we say that for 14 years we've existed to reveal love, to honor all paths, and to celebrate life.
Wow, wonderful. So hopefully it'll be open for 100 more years. It's really awesome.
If that is what is of highest service to humanity, then I'm sure it will be.
So for our audience, I mean, is there something that you would like to share that they can walk away with today? A little something that you teach on a normal basis?
I think one of the things that I feel most passionate about is disrupting the indoctrination of original sin. That feels really important to me. You know, we've been oftentimes raised in either religious traditions or cultural traditions that cause us to relate to ourselves as bad and wrong. And I think if we have millions of adults, billions of adults, walking on the planet with a self-image that involves shame and blame at the core of our being, then we should be not at all surprised that we create such a sense of dis-ease in relationship to one another. You know, a much more ancient tradition than the concept of original sin is the notion of original blessing. It's one of the most ancient spiritual orientations that perhaps exists. And that's always what I want to invite people back to, is a reminder of your whole and holy self, a reminder of you as a unique emanation of all that is. And I just, you know, my experience is that when we return people to their sense of wholeness, to their sense of rightness, to their sense of holiness, to recognizing a universal presence that is nearer than their breath, expressing perfectly as each of us, we can walk on the planet with greater peace, greater joy, greater harmony, greater generosity, and we can begin to have an experience of loving kindness in a real and meaningful way.
I feel that right here. That's channeling right there. I felt that come through. Boom. And I completely agree. I think that at our very core, we feel unworthy. And I hope that the more of us that awaken and start connecting with that wonderful divine energy, the earth energy, each other, the world will just be a better place. So that is, I believe that's at the core of it.
Yeah, I mean, when you fundamentally think that there's something wrong with you, it would be impossible to not perceive that there's something wrong with all you meet. And the notion that there's something fundamentally wrong with us just does not make a lick of sense to me. And it makes perfect sense that if that is your core sense of self, that it would require you to use all kinds of external substances and practices to anesthetize oneself. So whether it's the, you know, overuse of social media or the overindulgence in alcohol or drugs, or the overindulgence in food or shopping, you know, we have so many soft addictions that I think are really in place just to numb ourselves from navigating our false sense of self. And that's really what I pray humanity, the human condition, awakens from.
Agreed. And I work with a lot of empaths, you know, the sensitive ones that they all tend to struggle with those type of things, even more so, that sense of unworthiness, going through, you know, addiction and really abusive relationships and all of that. And it's really about understanding that we're worth love, we're worth having a happy life. And for some, it's a lifelong challenge. But I do feel like all we can do is help each other with that by setting an example, loving ourselves. And I think that's what, when you have a center like you have, what you're doing is doing that. And hopefully I can help in some way too. But it's really about showing other people, look, I made it through. right? Survivors of unworthiness. So
Yeah, and it's really my big beef, if you will, with many religious institutions, because I teach so many classes and workshops, and I spend a lot of intentional time and energy with people unwinding from dogma and doctrine that has caused people to go into really dark places of themselves, and that are just untruths. So, you know, I am a critic of many aspects of, you know, more contemporary religious tradition, because it's actually a newer tradition to sort of enslave people, if you will. And then what I want to say is that for those of us who have really gotten the learning that we are whole, perfect, and complete, that you are wholly exactly as you are, that your challenges and your struggles are in fact divinely orchestrated for your highest expression on the planet, we each then have a responsibility to share that with others. You know, I think the critique of, you know, the personal development movement or the spiritual seekers space is that I don't think we always do enough to, like in a traditional religious context, share the good news. You know, imagine if those of us that really know ourselves as whole and holy felt compelled
I agree. Sorry, the kind of cut in and out, but I got the gist of it. And I know our audience can hear us both, so that's what's important. But I want to thank you so much for coming on today. And I hope that everybody will look you up, find out more about what you do. And of course, if they're in the Chicago area, to go over and swing by. You're on the East End. Where specifically is the center?
We're actually in a neighborhood called West Town, which is just a block west of the expressway and just north of downtown. So it's in a really accessible for Chicagoans. And then the other invitation that I would extend is on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Central Time. I do something over at my Facebook page called The New You Live. So at 9 draw forward our worldview, our life perspective, and make sense of the mess. What I know is that your struggle is your purpose. And when we get that, we're liberated and we can be a holy contribution on the planet.
Wonderful. All right. Well, everybody go check her out, LolaWright.com, and you can join her on our Facebook page for more. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for being someone who's contributing an effective conversation on the planet.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You can go to Positive Impact Project's page to see other videos too, but go to Ep4.com, and I'm going to have more on Lola on the website. She'll have her own page on there, and you can see all that we do in our big positive project. Thanks, everybody, and Lola, have a great day.